So, I'll tell you a little story. My dad was an entrepreneur who went bankrupt many times over his career, and he was really good at starting from scratch again. It was amazing how many times he would usually his biggest flaw was too much leverage, and then things would blow up, but then he would find some new idea and get going again. And and my parents were very bad financial planners, so there really wasn't any savings or anything. So if business went down, means we had difficulty making rent and groceries and so on. So I think I was like 11 or 12 years old, and my father had just gone bankrupt, and the business had gone under. And every Sunday there was this guy in orange robes with all these marks on his forehead coming to our house, and he was an astrologer. And my father was consulting him about the future, what's the future going to be. And my dad was a very rational engineer, So I went to my dad and said, you have to know that everything this guy is telling you is total nonsense. You have to know that. So my dad says to me that I'm at the bottom of a well, and I need a rope to come out of the bottom of the well. And when I pay this guy to tell me about the future, he knows that he's not coming back next week unless the forecast is really rosy. Okay, so it has to be an exuberant future. And he also knows that the more rosy it is, the slightly higher he might get paid. So every week when I call him, he paints this picture: you're going to start another business, it's going to do really well, blah, 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 and I'm gradually coming out of the well, right? So that's how my dad explained this to me, right? And so let's say like the financial crisis, when I was down 70%, for example, I thought about my dad, and I thought about that astrologer, and I didn't have his email address. Damn, that's who I needed then, Tell me what the performance is going to be, and I'll pay you, and I'll pay you more if it's going to be more, And but I couldn't find his email address. So I had to come up with my own rope to come out of the well. And so what I did was, one of my rules of investing is thou shalt not use Excel. But I said, let's violate that rule to come out of the well, because coming out of the well is more important than Excel. So I created an Excel spreadsheet which had my portfolio with the current prices. And then I put down the price at the end of 2009 or end of 2010, 2011. And all those future prices were much higher than the current price. And then I looked at the value of the portfolio at those times. Those numbers looked really good. And that was the rope. And so we all need ropes to come out of deep wells. And I don't have the guy's email address. So you need to find your own rope, in effect. But I think that the nature of equity markets is that we are going to find ourselves. We buy things that are cheap. We understand the business. That's all fine. They get cheaper. And they can be cheaper because you made a mistake, or they can be cheaper because it makes no sense. The markets are mispricing it even more. And until we figure it out, we need some rope to it would be a mistake to sell things just because they become cheaper. I think you can sell things if they're cheaper if you're convinced that the current value of the business is below where it's currently trading. But if you're not convinced of that, you're better off being like the Fidelity dead clients and doing nothing. So everyone needs a rope.